stars, now a faint refrain. Coffee brews and thoughts collide in this early morning ride. Wake up world, let's start the day. Insight flows in a bright array. Questions dance like morning dew. In this space, it's me and you. Coffee chats with Melissa. Every cup is a whisper. Conversations open door. Spilling thoughts forevermore. Ideas bubble crisp and bright. Words take flight in morning light. Consult the heart, make it sing. New perspectives on each wing. Another cup of cheer. Every thought becomes so clear. From stations and bubbling streams, waking up to brand new dreams. Coffee chats with Melissa. Every cup was a whisper.
Well, good morning, guys. Listen, I would love to know what you're thinking. How did, how did it go? Can you hear me? Are we live? Talk to me, guys. So I just need to know, right? Because I'll be honest with you, a little bit of me is nervous. I was so nervous going live this morning. So can you hear me now? What's going on? Let's talk about it. I'm really just trying to gather myself because, to be honest with you, I didn't expect it. I just did not expect it. And it was a nice thing. I know Aaron has been working on his AI content, right? He's been writing songs. He does his Soul Man Live, which I'm going to be on next week, next Friday, and we'll be talking together. But he does a lot of promo, right? When you have guests on a show, especially a live show, you have more buildup. And so he's been working this craft for a while. He's been utilizing the resources available to him. He did not charge me for this, which I think is an atrocity to mankind because he could be doing so much more with even small bits. And so I'm going to work on this because he refused me to pay him, but I'm going to sneak some money in his pocket somehow. And then I also wanted to give him a shout out because giving back harnessing your craft to help others, to help increase their ripple, to sometimes just hold the mirror up for them, right? This was really cool. And then I'm shaking because every time I listen to it, I start dancing. It's an earworm. I apologize in advance. Sorry, not sorry. Because I was dancing around work yesterday, just coffee chats with Melissa in my head, and I couldn't help myself. And then I was like, once you guys get addicted to the song, watch me just use it in my shorts all the time. Video contents. Um, coming, right? It's happening. And I'm going to let Aaron explain it. We're going to talk a little bit about it next week on the show. So if you haven't subscribed to that next guy's event, go do that now. Go sign up. But also, I just want to say, I saw my mom in the video, and no matter how much fun I have dancing, no matter how much energy this is bringing, every time her face pops up, it catches me in my throat. It's like watching your mom. It's going to happen, guys. We're going to cry this morning. It's like seeing her in the audience. If you've ever been on stage, it's just nice. So thank you, Erin. I'm going to gather myself for like 8 seconds. I'm crying all over my brand new glasses. They're pretty. They sparkle. But reality is, it touched me so much. I played it for some people that I care about, people who know me well, people I work with. I've been slow rolling this out because I wanted it to be today that most of you saw it. And so Felipe didn't even get any insight to this. It was a very, very small group of people. One of them that I did show was a client of mine who does video and has done amazing work in front of the camera for a long time. And when she also got emotional, I was like, all right, we hit it. And that was what it was, right? That's exactly what it needed to be. And so that is my gratitude. I hope you guys love it. I do. Also, if you missed it and you don't want to wait for the show to end on LinkedIn, I'm live on YouTube. You can go subscribe over there. I don't know when the playback feature happens. Anybody know? Do you have to wait? Can you rewind on live TV on YouTube? I think you can. So if you missed it, you can go back or be a team replay, right? And just let me know what you think when it's done. So enough of the girly emotionals pouring out of my face. I'm not saying men can't create too, but these are my emotions and I'm feeling rather girly. So here's the thing. Time management, right? We're going to get into that soon, but I really want you guys to understand that I believe in this fully. I really was trying to process this morning. Take in new data. I always like to review the topic, kind of do some research, do some, Googling, talk to ChatGPT for a second, say, hey, what would you teach about if you were teaching this? And it really confirms a lot of stuff, but it's also those new concepts, right? You open that opportunity, even if you know what time management is about, even if you've taught it for a long time, even if you've used it to exceed expectations in a lot of ways, there's always a new way to go, right? There's some new concept that might come to pass. And if you're not open to it, you're going to miss it. And then somebody might gain some ground ahead of you. Your competitor may have listened and then gained an extra hour in the day, and they're 5 hours ahead every week because you didn't do a little bit of research. So that's where I started. I want to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of writing content with AI. Songs, I got to be honest, I'm falling in love with the concept because that was such a jam. And that is AI, and we own it, and it's cool. There were some human, touches there for sure. But we got to give it credit where it's due. I don't think it should be all things, but I think it definitely has a place. I love it for writing my promos for coffee chats. You guys are going to show up and listen to me. And to be honest, if I write it, I'm probably not going to stick to that script all the time anyway because of the chaos of the show. That's part of the fun of hanging out with me and my friends. So let ChatGPT give us an outline that I can kind of follow until we get into the groove. And so here's what it told me. For time management strategies, which is I really wanted to know what was going on out there, there's a few options. One of them recommends alternating between 25 minutes of focused work and 5 minutes of rest to maintain your best productivity and, focus. You can do time blocking, which I like to do a little bit better. For me, when I get into the groove, it sometimes can take me up to 25 minutes once I've sat down to really just anchor in. And I don't know about you guys, you can let me know in the comments. How long does it take you to really get to work once you sit down at your desk? Are you one of those people who can immediately just start writing a book as soon as your butt hits the chair? Or do you need time to sip your coffee, warm up your laptop? You want to, turn to the fresh page? Is it already set when you sit down? These are things to consider, right? For me, I don't love to wake up, run to the computer, and turn on the laptop 5 seconds before a show. I'm not ready. I'm not hot. My brain's not firing yet. So I know that I like to take a good 30 minutes to just lay in my bed in the morning. I do some slow stretching, prayer. I do my games on LinkedIn and the New York Times, right? Shout out to the Wordle users. But I like to get my mind and my body moving at my own pace in the morning. And so I wake up at 4 a.m. most days, sometimes a little earlier. My bladder wakes up first and doesn't want to go back to bed. My body just, it does what it does. But I usually get into that 3 to 5 a.m. pocket, and I can't leave it. Very rarely do I sleep beyond that. And it's because I am very much that person who likes that quiet time in the morning to anchor in. And so for me, if I don't get that time, the rest of my day does not feel managed. That's something I know right away. So time blocking in the morning, first step every day. That's where I start. So we can get into that more. We can talk about scheduling for the yes. That's something I teach my clients to do. But I want to cover what else ChatGPT is offering right now. So they're saying Eisenhower matrix, right? Use this to prioritize tasks by separating them into the 4 boxes on urgency and importance. I know some of my friends have covered this. If you have, please feel free to say so. Feel free to drop that in the comments. If you have something, even Felipe, if we've done a time management and you have that on the Careers, Chaos, and Coaching, I know we haven't always recorded them because they were audios. We can drop those things, guys. Let's share resources today. Let's just do that. I don't mind if you're sharing something you've taught. Please don't tell people you'll give them a discount or any of that stuff. Wait till they ask you, right? And guys, if you love the content they share, go ask them, but please don't pitch on my show. It's not something I want. Thank you. Set reminders. I'm a big fan of alarms. Alarms are what started the habit. Okay. And so for me, I have a plethora of alarms. As a matter of fact, I'm certain at 7 a.m. my phone's going to try to ding at me if I don't remember to go shut it off. And so big fan of reminders until it becomes automatic. I was not always a 4 a.m. riser. I used to need multiple alarms, multiple snoozes before I could get out of bed. And now I giggle as I almost naturally know it's about to click off and it's going to interrupt my game. I haven't shut them off. I don't know why. We can talk about that another day, but it's a thing, right? They're still there, and I can show you a screenshot if you need it. But I have them probably 15-minute intervals. I also feel very much like I joke I'm an ADHD bunny, right? Where I like to bounce around from ideas and concepts, and sometimes I get into this cycle. You guys ever do that where you start in an app and then you maybe follow it to a different app, or you check your email and that takes you to a different thing, and then it triggers another idea. Then all of a sudden you have 5 million tabs open. You don't know what you started on. I like alarms because it's almost like hey, what are you doing? Check in. And so figure out how alarms work for you. But I think setting reminders to get the job done. Are you being focused? What are you doing with your time is really important. Delegate the duties. That is one of my favorite things to do, right? When I think about fast food, where I started, and I love to talk fast food because I really think corporate Venn diagrams a lot with the fast food industry. And not everybody loves this, but I'm going to a scientific way to process data. So pull it out and let's Venn diagram it, right? The reality is corporate wants you to execute KPIs, right? You have certain things we need to do, key performance indicators that tell us we're doing a good job at the job we're trying to do. Fast food is nothing but exceeding those all the time. That's the job. They do it in 20, we do it in 2, right? And when I learned in fast food that if you just plan and you strategize and you prepare for what you know will inevitably happen. Sorry, still waking that tongue up, guys. It's not there. You you can really prepare. And so when I was a shift leader at Jack in the Box, I was a young mom. Baby was only a few years old, and I was leading the drive-through speed times for my district to the point where like they came to watch us because they did not understand how. Way back before everybody said, "Hey, can you pull around?" and they had a place for you to park, right? This is long before that became a facet of the industry. I was running times that were comparable to those now that do that thing. And I was running a night shift. And so, safety and security being an issue, there was a lot of things there. And so, they came to see what was different, what I was doing. Was I putting the company at risk? Was there some kind of hustle going? I don't know how to put it. And really, I'm probably making it more than it was, but they came to monitor. What they saw was I knew the 2 a.m. people, right? The people who show up after they've hung out with their friends, maybe had a few beverages, they've spent too much money, they're super hungry, they need to go home, but they maybe even shouldn't be driving. I'll be honest, right? I wasn't a cop, but I sometimes wish I would have been if I'm being transparent. And so I know what these guys need. They need food and they need it fast. They want it cheap. They don't really care much about quality. They want it yesterday. And so what I would do is prepare. I wanted the quality there because you don't want an angry person. Like once they get the food, the quality might matter more. And integrity and moral code. And if you get it, you should get quality, right? You're paying for it. So I would just prepare. Chicken sandwiches and tacos were a hit at this time. Chicken takes a few minutes to cook. If you wait till they ask for it, it's not going to be good. And so I was optimizing our processes by using the hold times, making sure that every time somebody ordered one, we replaced it for the car behind it. And we just kept going. It was a small thing, a small assessment. It changed the drive. We were leading. And it was because I knew the dollar menu items, which again, way back when dollar menu items were still $1, were going to be hot sellers, right? So I just prepared the goods and had them ready on the shelf within the times. And everybody was smiling, upselling, cheesecake and orange juice for the morning or whatever. It was great. But that is a huge thing you could do, is just figuring out where your processes are. And then the other part of it was delegating. I couldn't make everything in the store at once, right? I had customer service, I was managing, I was time management and managing too. You have to make sure everything comes together hot at once. It doesn't seem like a lot, but if you've ever been in corporate trying to manage a project, right? How much project management I've done in background screening and trying to facilitate onboarding of clients and integrations, you have to make it seamless. Even a background check going federal, criminal, county, nationwide, bringing it all together in a timely manner to get you a job. Important. And so all of this comes together, but cooking is an easy one to think about. They say don't multitask. That's next on the list. And that's why I led with what I did. Is I don't think that's true. I was cooking French fries and making burgers. I was talking to customers while I filled drinks. And so I think multitasking can be done well. You can cook macaroni and fry the protein up in the pan, but you have to be able to also maybe do customer service while they do the cooking, right? And so what is it that you don't have to necessarily do, but you can monitor them by just touching base, like, hey, I have fries done. How long on the burger? Simple things to Venn diagram, guys. What in your life could you say, hey, if I could just have this person be timely with this thing, I would improve the processes, right? That's where we go. So it really gets into setting priorities. That's the next thing. And why does it matter? The who, what, where, when, whys. We talk about it often. I love using elementary education concepts because we've all been there, right? We've been through the basics. Why do we need to improve our time management? What are the outcomes we're hoping for? Why does it matter? What's not working, right? Where are the processes not strong? They may not even be failing, but there could be some hiccups there. It could be it takes too long to load the printer because of where we store the paper, and that delays the office by an hour once a week because we have to go so far away to get the paper. You know, it's in another building down the street. I don't know. Silly, but not always. I used to be a manager of a storage facility, and I was shocked to see how many local restaurants used our storage facility to store cups and lids and whatever. So, again, while it seems silly, corporate decisions can actually alter what you do with your time. And sometimes you are your own corporate. If you're a business leader, you are setting yourself up to win or fail, and you have nobody to blame but yourself. And I got to be honest, my boss was terrible for a decade. I did not really get a vacation. She, and I'm talking me, would think, hey, if you're vacating from this type of process or job or action, then that is a vacation, right? You can take a vacation from job one to go write a book over here. Well, that's not really vacating from mindset action, right? And if that's what I really need a vacation from, that's what I was thriving or desiring. I wasn't giving it to myself, and I knew it. And so it was taking the time to assess what was really happening in my life with my time that made me go, oh, no wonder I'm always tired. No wonder I'm always wanting more. I get it now, right? And so tell me in the comments. I'm going to come down here and go through them a little bit, and we're going to mix up what's going on the screen because why not, right? But tell me, what are you struggling with time-wise? What are some tips that maybe you've learned in your time on Earth, either in a job like a fast food environment, or maybe it was in corporate, right? Do you see the parallels? Have you worked both? I want to know if you can Venn diagram this with me, because I think it's important to talk about. I think there's a lot of people who will turn their nose up at certain industries. And I'll be honest, I love anybody who has experienced the fast food industry because they do have that mindset if they were thriving, right? They do. So let me start at the beginning, though. Good morning, guys. I'm seeing you all. Look at Felipe. Felipe said he liked the intro. Look at that. Good morning, James. I'm not going to read everything you guys are saying, but I want to give you guys a shout out here. That's a guy who did the intro video. Go follow him. Go look for that profile video. I'm going live on a show next week. Absolutely going to love it. Guys, the intro is pretty hot. I'm not going to lie. We might have to end the show with it also, just because why not? So, hey, David Pushkin, thank you so much for letting me know you could hear me. I'm still kind of figuring this out, right? I'm also streaming on YouTube and Facebook for the first time. So, guys, if you're over there on those channels and you're checking me out, awesome. Welcome. It's new, right? I've been working on LinkedIn. For those who are new, let me just introduce myself. Gosh. I've been working on LinkedIn doing some audio events for quite some time, a few years now. And it was really something that started when my mom passed away. I came back to the platform. I had been working to talk to professionals 3 to 5 a day, called it coffee chats. Those who are on LinkedIn know all about coffee chats. But basically, you would give 15 minutes or so of time to another professional. You guys would share your perspectives, maybe 5 minutes each. Really just talk about why you're here, what you're looking to do, how can I help you, and exchange some ideas, concepts, connections. It was working for me. I was doing really well in my industry. I had a very lucrative year, and then my mom passed. And I took some time away, and those people who wanted to catch up, had some questions, maybe had been consistently at shows of mine, I reached out to, or not shows at the time, sorry, but at events of mine of coffee chats or checking in the DMs. I just said, hey, you want to catch up? Let me tell you. And I did a LinkedIn Live. And it was an audio event. And I just basically explained what was going on. And it wasn't my first event, but it was one of the first. My friend Aaron Barrero had done an event with one of his friends. And it was just really cool. I fell in love with the concept. So for a long time, guys, that's where we've been playing, right? Those of you who know have been there. And it is a huge part of who I've become. Without audio events, I wouldn't be an author, a co-author in 2 books that are international bestsellers. I wouldn't have another show with my friend Felipe, who's in the comments and wants Aaron to help him with his AI. I wouldn't know half of these people you're seeing pop up on the screen, right? And these are people that, if you have not met them yet, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, if you're new to the LinkedIn journey and don't know who these people are, I really just implore you to write their names down and go do some research, because a lot of these humans I personally know and work with, talk to, have written with, have engaged with, have coached, have been coached by, right? That's what the show, the community, the whole thing is about. And what I love about doing it on LinkedIn is we kind of cut through the crap, right? There's a lot of stuff that I post on Facebook I won't necessarily post on LinkedIn because it's more personal in nature. I have my family there. And so some of the posts I post on Facebook are set to friends and family only. But I'm also a paid content creator over there. And so some of the posts over there are fun videos where I've done reels or, reaction videos, and I've been paid for that. And that's fun too. But I wanted to expand, especially since LinkedIn, guys, the reason I'm live on video now is because LinkedIn said, hey, no more audio events. And so I had to make a decision. Do I give up what I love, or do I evolve? And so we're evolving. I did some beta testing this year. I tried a few different streaming platforms that could really work. And I like StreamYard. I just do. So that's where we are. When I decided to go on video, I started talking to people who did video, right? Lauren Sermon's here. She's been doing it a long time. Go check her out. She's fantastic. She does a show on Fridays. You got Aaron Gibson also on Fridays later in the evening. I'm going to be on his show next week. And then you have Lisa. She runs a show, right? Melissa, do you run a show? I know I see you on shows, or I see you everywhere. I love it because Melissas are kind of my jam. I don't know if you guys know, but we have a whole tribe of Melissas. We unite. I don't know if you guys do that with other people with your name. Do you? Is that a thing? I feel like it's a terrible thing, but there's an overlap automatically when you're Melissa, right? We're honeybees. That's what the name means if you didn't know. We are here to help cultivate growth and get all that good pollen. So anyhow, let me get back to it. I'm Melissa Houston. Go to documentthatAct.com. You can learn more about me if we're just getting to know each other. Go check me out on LinkedIn. Go check me out on YouTube. Go check me out on Facebook. But just follow. Don't request to be my friend unless we literally have hung out in person. That's just a rule. And don't be upset, because that's the same rule for everybody. That's just how it works. All right. So back to time management. Let me ask you, do you feel like you use your time well? Yes or no? Right? I'll be honest, it depends on the day. I always feel like almost like the Terminator at this time. I know it's a terrible analogy, but my brain almost works to that degree, right? It's almost one of those things where I walk into the room and I feel kind of like an AI bot where I'm scanning, assessing, automatically click, 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 click. It's the Jason Bourne effect in my brain, right? I feel a little bit like a trained agent because it's initial assessment. And I think it happens as soon as I open my eyes, right? Knowing that, oh, how much is my hip hurting today, right? I have poor hips. I have arthritis. And those of you who follow know, but I can tell you the weather before I get out of bed. And so one of the first things I do is like ache management. Where am I? What's the weather like outside? What kind of day are we looking at? Do I need a stretch? But it happens in a room. I can sense energies. Anybody else? And I know it sounds a little foo-foo, right? And that's okay. But I grew up in an environment that was treacherous to young children in moments. I don't know how else to put it. But vibes, reading a room, understanding there's a gut instinct here that says back up, don't move in. Not sure if you understand what I'm talking about, but that's also there, and it's an automatic thing for me. If you wondered what that sound was, that was one of those glorious alarms. But it's a gift, really. It is. And so I have to be honest, part of it is a natural instinct for me, and I want to share that is a gift for me. It's a privilege I have harnessed over time, and not necessarily with pleasure, but it works. And so assessing the room, assessing the humans. You don't want to ask your team to take on more tasks if they can't manage it. So that's a useful thing, right? But also yourself. I love to assess my own sensations when I'm approaching a task. Do I feel excited to do this? Do I feel like I'm doing it begrudgingly? Right? Do I really want to be doing this right now? Am I doing it because I have to, because I want to? And so, how many of you are doing tasks begrudgingly, right? This is something that I think can really affect how quickly we can get a task done. You've seen it. Give me a thumbs up, or in the comments. Do you have children? Anybody ever been responsible for a little human? It doesn't have to be your own human necessarily, right? But have you ever seen a person be told, hey, go do your chores, and they didn't really want to? Have you ever been told to go do your homework or chores, and then you didn't want to? And so you're like begrudgingly running through life, and you're like, I don't want to do it. I'm just going to put it off. I'll get it done soon. Because not going to lie to you, I have laundry that stares at me in my face often, and I don't want to do it. It's part of where I am, right? And so the time that I put into just neglecting, avoiding, reacting to that task is wasted. I'll be honest, I charge $250 an hour, unless you get one of the discounts because of whatever, right? Like not a pitch, just a fact. I charge that. And if I spend an hour moaning and griping about laundry, instead of just paying somebody $20 to come fold my laundry, I've wasted time and energy to my detriment, right? And so that's an example of the power of the energy behind the task. If you don't want to do it, delegate it. First step. If you look at any successful business, the first thing they do is outsource the thing they hate doing most, right? If you have a person who's, I think about a staffing firm, right? That's something I've helped grow before. And the first thing that the business owner did after starting the business, implementing the things you need to run a business, was to hire somebody to help answer phones and to dial phones, right? Everybody isn't excited to be a marketer. Not everybody's excited to try to make sales and then miss the call when they do call you back, right? You need somebody to answer. If you want to look like a good, solid business that's actually developed and can handle it, then you would want to have some help with that service, even if you outsource it, right? But that's the thing. Time management, where is the investment? What is the power of the reason of the decision you're making, the who, what, where, when, whys, and the energy behind it? Because I would rather outsource the laundry, the dishes, taking the trash out, simple things, right? It doesn't take a lot of time, but it takes a lot of my energy. If I am not in my work environment, if I'm at home, I do not want to do the cleaning because it zaps me. But there are things I love doing. I love to scrub. If I'm at your house and you tell me, oh man, I wish my bathroom was clean and I'm just not up to it, you better watch out because we're going to be talking while I scrub. I was an infomercials baby, right? In the 80s, that's where I was, before cable, before my family had money to even subscribe to the option of cable. I just watched infomercials. And then when they were over, the TV went off because there was nothing left to play. The white noise, right? Who remembers white noise? You don't have to tell me how old you are, but did you see white noise and know it was time for bed, or did you always have something to watch 24 hours a day? Back to what I'm saying, right? Time management, delegate the things you don't want to do. Know what makes you happy. I like to scrub. I don't like to fold. I like to wash. I like to dry. I don't want to fold. I don't want to put it on hangers. I don't want to put it in the closet because I want to color code my closet. I can't just get in there and just hang it up. it ends up being an all day thing. And when I hang up the clothes on the closet, then I'm going to start going, oh man, I disheveled the shelves up here. Let me refold everything. There is a reason, maybe a little OCD in there, that I don't want to do it, right? But assessment first. It's not just laziness, it's the fact that it becomes a ripple, and then no alarm can stop it, because once I've undone the closet, there's no going back. Anybody been there? Right? Okay, so time management, figuring out what you want to do, but how do you sort it? For me, I like to use a few to-do lists. We've talked about it before, but maybe you're new to the show, so let me tell you what it is. I have 3 lists at all times. Today, meaning 24-hour window. From the moment that I write the list, I have 24 hours to complete it. I will time and date stamp a list when I write it down so I can remember what it is, right? And I also like to keep my journal, side note. So this is really also for me to reference back to as I'm growing and writing and the journey of who I become and how I got there. That's part of it. But today, 24 hours. The next list is this week, right? Today is Friday. Maybe this week I want to get some things done with my business, but I'm not going to do it in the next 2 days. It's the weekend, right? Very little is going to get done with my business this weekend except talking on events. I'm going to be doing some personal stuff at work. I have some tasks there. I'm going to roller derby. That's going to be cool. That's on this week's list. But there's some things I need to do maybe by Wednesday. Somebody might have written down, like Tuesday when they wrote their list, they might have said clean out the garage this week. That would have been a weekend task. They couldn't get you right away. That's the idea, right? The next one is after. There's absolutely no time on this except it's after 7 days. And the biggest thing for me is tomorrow's not promised, right? So getting too caught up in a really structured 5-year plan, a to-do list, too much structure, again, makes Melissa not so happy. Don't give me rules. I just want to break them a little bit. It's the HR in me, rightfully. But reality is I do better when I don't put too much pressure on the time. And then I could just kind of float into those things, because there are times where you just need rest. There are times where family comes up. There are times when you want to go see roller derby, right? And so having those 3, it allows me to break it down. Now, the value of the 3 is this. Let's say today's to-do list only consisted of hosting coffee chats with Melissa Houston. As soon as it's done, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got my today's to-do list done. But I have more energy. I'm excited. I'm hyped up. I want to use it. I can grab this week's list. So now I'm actively working on something that could have been up to 7 days away from today. And I'm moving forward with it without pressure, without letting myself down because I didn't get it done on that first list, right? There's no pressure there. I got the one major thing done I needed. Now I can move into the next. And so low pressure for Melissa, more playtime for Melissa, still organized, still delegating the duties either to myself or, to the calendar to then assess to see where we go from there. But I can quickly move into action, into something forward. And you know what, guys, that's a gold star in my brain, right? When I can take on extra all of a sudden, like, oh, wow, I've done all of my stuff. Let me get next week's stuff done. It's a huge win. And I think compounding those wins really keeps the motivation going. And that's part of what really keeps us successful. It's also why I think you should play in your fun and passions, because if you beat a level on Mario, you want to play the next level on Mario, right? 80s kid here, I'm telling you like it is. We didn't have a save back then, so you just kept going. And so some of that's that mindset of, wow, I beat the first level, let me get to the next. And I'm using that gamer mentality that's built into my core to my advantage. And that's for me. It may not be for you. Maybe you hate video games. Maybe you're like, I don't even say Mario to me. I think it's stupid. I hate his hat. That's fine. But who do you relish? Who do you want to mimic? What motivates you? Right? Is it your own gold star? Do you just like to check your own to-do list off? Do you like to take your completed list to your boss and get the gold star from them? Do you like to get degrees to confirm you did it yourself without really having anybody but a teacher who can grade you against what they're teaching? I don't know. You have to decide this. I help people figure it out. And if you want help, I can, right? That's part of this process. I'm a coach. But it's something you have to determine for you, or you will always fail, because you cannot apply my solution unless you understand how you work. Imagine having oil for a car and you just pour it over the top of the roof. I put oil on the car. Why isn't it working? Right? It's silly. The oil goes in the car. Oh, well, okay. And so they put it in the car. They pour it on the carpet. Doesn't work. Oil is the solution for the problem, but do you know where to apply it and how and why? It's a silly concept, but guys, right? This is one of those things. So, next question. Who wishes there were more hours in a day? Be honest. Have you ever said, oh man, I wish we just had a little more time? Just another day, another hour, one more hour, and I could have finished this project just a little better. I'm going to let LinkedIn catch up because I have a cure for those people. And don't let me forget, right? I'll come back to that in a second. But there's a lot of stuff going on here. Looks like a lot of people are coming in from LinkedIn. Hi, guys. Erin says, if you have a question, throw them up in the comments. Yeah, let me know. What do you got going on? Where are you guys tuning in from? Where are you listening? Not just LinkedIn, but where in the world? I had somebody in the comments, and I don't know this person personally yet, but when I posted the event, they said 6 a.m. Pacific. Wow. I giggled, right? I totally giggled, because reality is, it is early for some, but my friends that are in New York, well, I mean, it's almost 10 a.m., right? Oh, Nick says, hey, look at. Nick's killing it. Nick is the reason that this all really happened. I got to be honest, because I knew these people. But it was when I started really getting in with Nick and writing and having the conversations and seeing him support her in the events. And then also Leslie, right? Leslie Flowers. He helped so much with errata and the books. And if you don't know her, you don't know the books, go check them out. I bought them. I have them. I need to get the paper. I only got the digital, and then I had to write books. A lot was going on at that time, but I need to get the paperback. Somebody let Leslie know. I don't have it yet. And so anyway, yeah, it's early here, right? But we're here. And look at how many other people showed up. That's just it. So I'm going to skip a little bit. Ooh, Felipe asked a great trivia question. Some of you will know. We've mentioned this a lot in our events. But what Sesame Street character am I saved as in his phone? I want you to guess. If you know, maybe giggle with us for a second. I see Erin says Elmo. Nope. And honestly, do you know who Felipe is? Right? Because we have covered this before. And we each know who the other character is. I don't agree with Felipe's assessment of himself. I still need proof that he can do the things he says he can as his character, but we will see, right? We will see. So drop it in the comments, but let me get back to it, guys. Again, we're Coffee Chats with Melissa. Go follow me on YouTube. I need 1,000 subscribers to get monetized there. I think I was at 4 because I wasn't telling anybody about it before the show. So I'm curious to see how many of my friends are going to follow from this event, because assessment, right? Let's see how far we can go. Are you going to tell your friends I have a thing over there? Are you? Okay, so back to it. Who wishes you had more hours in a day? Have you ever said, if I only had more time, right? And I'll be honest, this is where we come into assess, align, and assign. And I'll get into that, because reality being, we always run out of time. We get distracted. We get distracted because we're busy. We have LinkedIn. We have YouTube. We have Facebook. I just told you to go get tickled by all of these different platforms. And you probably follow other people if you have the platforms, right? And so, it's And I won't speak to too much about what it was, but they were just able to be more prepared in their craft because of knowledge that's been shared on this platform. This person shared this experience with me, and basically my response was, hey, LinkedIn, right? It upskills, it teaches, that's where it's at. But to be able to sit in a room with your peers and to have that one thing they don't know about yet, that they're just like, oh my gosh, it's magic. What did you do? How? And to be able to point back at this thing, it's great, but it's also a time suck. Have you found LinkedIn to be a time suck? I want to know that too. And we're going to combat that, right? So Stephen says, Melissa, you've co-authored a book for the purpose of leaving a legacy. Do you see yourself writing more books for other purposes? Yes, I do actually. A couple of the ideas I've had in my soul for a long time is I have been back building a cookbook with my sister who can't cook. My older sister from my father's side, we did not grow up together. And so kind of bringing the family recipes together for us to carry on our combined family recipes is kind of a goal. I also have always thought about maybe taking my content as a coach and repurposing it into a book. A coffee table book, as it were. I also think that my story is not yet started. And I've talked to Nick about it. She is my publisher, right? And Felipe and I have covered this as well. We got the writing bug. And it's one of those things that once you have it, I don't think you can put it down. I have always loved to write, whether it's in my journals, my dreams, my goals, helping others with business slogans, right? I've helped others with their content creation, marketing. It's all there, but now it's defined in a new way. And the work I've done with the youth through Walkaboomy, with Felipe, with entrepreneurship, when I think back to being a young teen and my mom gifting me my first book that I can remember, I'm certain I got a lot of books growing up, but as a teen in a world of new technology and pagers and these really colorful Mac computers or whatever it was at IBM, who did the colorful box, right? I got a book and it was Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul. And I still have it. I had Post-it notes I tore into strips. I was making my own little Post-it strips before they were cool. I highlighted the book. It almost, in essence, looks like a book of faith in the way that I've seen other books or text use in that kind of way. It's worn, it's weathered, it's been through a lot of journey with me. And I think that planted a seed. And I talked about it with people as I grew through an anthology book and said it very much reminded me of that concept. And that's where it began for me. But that created the need to want to write poetry because of the Chicken Soup for the Soul. It was a kind of a mix of writings. And then it just kept going. It just did. And I don't think it's going to stop. I'm sure people will wish it at some point. But no, it won't stop for me. Now, finding the time, right? That's really where it's at. I do have another book that I'm going to collaborate with some people this year. It's about being more than our diagnosis. And I talked about having arthritis. I have a pinched nerve. I have trochanteric bursitis. I got a lot going on. And when I was talking to the surgeons who said I need hip replacements, plural, they're only offering me one because my pelvic bone also has a lot of deterioration and stuff going on. And so they don't think it would be able to receive more than one surgery to lock the gear in. Long story short, I have to push forward. I have to make it work anyway. When my son was 2, they told me I wasn't going to walk in 10 years. My son is going to be 25 this year, and I walk every day, multiple hours a day, like half of the day, 12 hours. So, we're going to write about that, right? There's a lot of stuff, but getting the time to do it is the problem. Everybody would do their goal if they could just have the time, right? If you could just find that time for you, you would do it too. And so here's how we do it. First thing I want you to do right now, and I mean this, every single person, I want you to grab your journal and I want you to, or your planner, go to your very next open slot. And I want you to write schedule for the yes. And this is important for me because it is a personal date with my time, with myself. It's my time. And I do an hour a day, every day. And I don't even count my wake up time as this time, to be honest with you guys. It's at the end or the middle section of the day that I like to insert this time most often. But anywhere you can squeeze it in, that you know you will be focused. And in that time, when you get there, you just pause and assess. All right, this is my moment. What do I need? And I'll be honest, guys, I have filled it with returning phone calls. I have filled it with doing work that I fell behind on or got distracted away from. I have cleaned my house. I have run to a fast food restaurant. I have made phone calls to friends. I've colored. I've watered my plants. I've taken a nap. I've watched TV. I've written books in this hour. Not all of it, right? But I've worked on it. There's a million things that I've done with this time, but it's always been mine to do whatever I needed in that moment. And so for me, that's my secret weapon in one way, right? 3 different lists, so none is very daunting. None is overwhelming to look at because I don't know about you guys, but that flight or fight syndrome, like you just want to run away when you see too many things to be done. Anybody ever get that? You want to combat that as best you can if you know that's a thing for you, like it is for me. And so I break the list down into sections. I never overwhelm one day, but I can always tap into as much of that potential of a day as I want to looking forward. And then I schedule time every day to assess what else needs to be done. Because let's say, and I've used this in coaching, guys, so if you've done the Minnie Mouse experiment with me, let's talk about it. But I've talked about, helping people find work. And there are people who want to work for Disney. It's one of the largest employers out there, right? Lots of cool benefits working for an organization like that. I'm still contemplating that on my to-do list. As a matter of fact, as I get older, maybe I'll be able to do so and get park privileges. But if you want to work for them, you need to make a plan, right? You can't just walk in and work there. Everybody wants to be there. And so how do you get there? If you're on LinkedIn, we are going to tell you need to get your profile ready. You need to make sure that your banner talks about whatever it is you're going to bring to the team. If you're an animator, it should say so in your bylines, right? Maybe it talks about the different tools you're using. Where mine says cultivator of dreams, a motivator of human capital, yours should say something completely different if you're wanting to work for Disney. Now, maybe not. Maybe you use that hook to get them going, but then the supporting bullet points are going to tell them what they need. Reality is, though, I tell my clients, if you're going to get Disney's attention, you need to get your profile ready, make sure your professional experience is there, do the resume like all of these people tell you. But then you need to make sure that you're grabbing their attention by, again, doing what other coaches will tell you, engaging in their comments section, following their page, connecting with some of the potential recruiters there. How many of them tell you to make sure that you have your Mickey Mouse ears on and the polka dots ready on your page when they come? Because honestly, the one thing that I tell you I can't pay for is passion, right? It has to be naturally existing in you, or I have to be able to create it. Creating passion in a teenager who doesn't want to do chores is very hard. I know I had 4 children that I tried to do that with. If I have somebody who just loves to scrub like I do, it's not going to be hard to ask for that, right? And so when you're looking at fun and passion as a recruiter, it's one of those things that when you see it, it's like water. It's like air. You're just so grateful for it. Like, oh my gosh, yes. Bring that fun. Where is it? And so get your ears ready, get your polka dots on. And I don't mean go plagiarize and copyright them. By any means, that's not what I mean. But you can take their content and share it. You can talk about your favorite rides at the park. You can talk about your favorite characters and why they matter. You can talk about the Dole pineapple whip and how you make it at home every Friday night when you're watching your favorite Disney movie, which happens to be insert here. right? Because then when you hashtag Disney, when you're doing the things, when you finally get their attention because somebody is absolutely monitoring those hashtags and those ads, right? Maybe you create so much excitement within the person monitoring that they share it directly to HR going, hey, did you know I just found the next Minnie Mouse, you should call them. Because it really does work like that on LinkedIn. Not always, it's not a magic platform, but if you cultivate a really good network of people who would have your back, who might be able to make that connection, who would speak on your behalf because they know you well enough to do so, you're a step closer, right? So get your ears ready. What do you want to be when you grow up? Can they see the passion? If you tell me you want to work for Intel and then all you're doing is talking about how much you hate AI, it's not going to Venn diagram well for HR because they're probably investing a lot of money there, right? So fun and passion, time management. Are you assigning and delegating these things to people who are passionate about what you're doing? I've had a lot of people build websites for me over my career, right? For my businesses and different facets that I've been in for marketing. And I know the difference of somebody who genuinely was excited to do the project and somebody who was at work, not really excited, doing it because Bob was sick, right? And I feel bad to Bob. I use that name a lot. Bob, I'm sorry. And Karen's too. I'm sorry to you guys. Your names get used a lot. But Bob, man, don't be sick because this other guy's not excited to do my website like you were, Bob. And so think about it, right? Who are you delegating to? Are you engaging the funds and passion in the project? Are you doing it with yourself? Because in that schedule for the yes, if you're not passionate about what you're doing every day and that schedule for the yes moment feels like fresh air every time you could just run away from everything you're supposed to be doing, you're doing it wrong. I don't even know how you're doing it. And I don't like to just say that to people, but if you're miserable and the 1 hour you get a day is just like fresh air, we got to assess why. I know why it feels like fresh air when I breach the surface after swimming a long time underwater. I know why it feels like it because it is. And my body was absolutely suffocating by choice for fun. But at some point, the fun gets to the point where you're moving, right? You're moving towards a solution. You have to get up to the air. What is it that you're avoiding and why? Let's use that time, right? Now, I really want to know, it's kind of being lost in the sauce, but do you know who Felipe is has stored me as in his phone, which Sesame Street character? Because it does come back to that fun and passion conversation. Felipe and I started communicating over passionate things. It was audio events, and we were having these conversations about recruiting, time management, all these coaching facets, right? It's where the show evolved from. But when we became friends, it was when I was asking some of these chaotic little questions about who's your favorite Sesame Street character and why. And when we had the conversation, he told me who he thought I was. And when he did, I kind of lost it a little bit. I'm not going to lie, because it fits. And I never in my life thought that it would fit. But it does. And Felipe, I'm going to send you the link to join if you want to come up here, because I feel like it's important. But also, guys, if you want to join the stage, I'm not allowing everybody because it is still new to me. We are broadcasting on many platforms today, so I want to be very careful in how we're doing until I get this down. That's my personal brand we're dealing with, and so I want to be careful here. But it is a relevant question to the passion project. It's something that I didn't plan to bring Felipe up on necessarily, but I know he joins me a lot, and I know you guys like it. We have the promo for the show to do anyway, so let's do it. But what is it that drives us? And Felipe and I realized we were both grown-ups who could have this conversation about being happy with Sesame Street characters, right? To talk about LinkedIn as Sesame Street, which I have. It gave me that vibe when we were doing Social Saturday in the beginning, when people were joining and engaging with intention and and my friend Victoria, who would host her profile with all these outlines of how to get started and, like, answer these questions below. And everybody followed the rules and did it. And we all got to meet people that we would have never met before. And that's huge, right? And that's where I started moving. That's how I started to get to know Felipe. That's how the coffee chat started to get such a diverse following. And we still play there. And so for me, I got to tell you, did you guys guess who Felipe is yet? Because we're supposed to guess who I am and who Felipe is. And I'm going to tell you soon because I'm going crazy here to do it. But it is the top of the hour. So let me reintroduce myself for those who are just joining. I am Melissa Houston. I am the cultivator of dreams, motivator of human capital. And what that means is I help grown-ups, people like you, figure out what they want to be when they grow up, and then get a plan together to harness that fun, that passion, that energy, that excitement to make it work for you. Some people do it to improve where they are. Some people change everything. And that's okay. We figure it out for you. It's fully customized for my clients. And it's a lot of fun. We can do 1 hour, 4 hours. I do quarterly and I do annual coaching. It's up to you how long you want to work together, but I would like to meet first. I got to make sure we align. So don't think just because you want it, you're going to get it. It's not how it works here. I might have a friend that's a little bit better suited to do the thing you need, but we'll know when we assess, right? That's the first step. So if you want an assessment call, get on the website, documentedact.com, go sign up for that. You can hit me up on the DMs on any of the platforms you're on, comment below, hey, reach out to me, I want to chat. That's cool too. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but there's this little buy me a coffee QR code I put up in the corner. I kind of forgot about my banners, guys. I'm playing on the background, but it's there. It's there. I'm going to make it disappear soon. So have it go away because we're going to change some stuff up. But it's important, guys. I also want to tell you that I have a couple books you should check out. My friends are in these with me. I am the People First book was about networking, right? And there's a trilogy there, 3 books. I recommend buying them all. I'm in book 2 though. If you want to know, book 2, go check that out. And also a message to my family. This one hit my heartstrings. It mattered a lot. I've read it to my family. I'm going to be reading it live at some point, both of my chapters for my YouTube channel. And we'll do it maybe here on Coffee Chats just to have it. But I would love for you to read it. You can get it digitally or you can get a paperback copy. Let me know if you're interested. You can also find it on Amazon, right? So that's who I am. That's what we got going on. Okay. Aaron, I don't know where Felipe is. I mean, I don't even know. So I'm just going to tell you the big bird jokes. Can we talk about it for a second? Because that's me. That's what Felipe said. Felipe said, I am Big Bird. And you know what? I'm not mad at it. But do you agree? Do you? I didn't think I did at first. I thought there was a lot of people out there. I kind of imagined myself a little bit of a Zoe. If you don't know who Zoe is, go Google Zoe, Sesame Street. With the fun, the passion, the cheerleaders, the color, the energy. But when Felipe explained, I really understood it. And then he also told me who he thinks he is. And that part I'm not giving away yet. I'm just not. Because look at who's here. I have a friend. I don't know if you guys know this, but Felipe has joined. And so, Felipe, let's talk about it, right? Where are you at?
All right, so I switched over to StreamYard, so I missed the last 10 seconds of what you said.
Well, I mean, let's talk about number one. I told him who you said I was because Aaron kept bringing it up in the comments that there was a Big Bird joke. He's Big Bird, he said. And I was like, well, that's what Felipe said about me too. Right? So
no, and you are Big Bird. You come in and you have a big personality. You are somebody who likes the glitter, likes the brightness, but you also have the compassion and you care. And Big Bird is like that, and he's a leader, and you're definitely a leader. So I associated that with those characteristics. I think that a lot of people have characteristics of Big Bird. Now, as far as your choice of my character, I still,
I didn't tell him who it is. Guys, he's here. Last chance. Who is it that Felipe is, right? Do you know? Can you guys tell me?
so I will say this about what she did when she chose my character. There's parts of it that I don't disagree with, because the fun-loving personality, fun Felipe, yeah, I can see that in there. Um, it just, I don't think, demonstrates some of the other strong traits that I might display as well as this character does.
Wait a
and,
minute.
and and, and
Wait.
and and this character has one superpower. I'll give you a clue. One
No,
superpower.
wait, hold on. I have a question before you give away too much here. Um, did I assign this person or did you assign this person? I don't remember now because I swear you said this was who you were, and I just wanted proof that you could do the thing you say you did better than this character.
No, I think as I was talking and going through them, I mentioned that character and said, "Well, you know, I like this one's personality," and you're like, "Oh no, that's you. Except you can't do this." And I'm like, "No, if I was him, I could do that, and I would do it damn well." And so we got into that whole discussion. So it became
Okay,
like
guys.
just through our normal chaos that I got assigned that one. Has
Okay,
anyone
so
guessed it yet?
no, there's a lot of Elmo guesses, and I'm not sure if it's Elmo for you or Elmo for me.
Okay, I
I
am. Okay,
wait, hold
first
on.
of all,
Wait, no, hold on.
we
The
are
next
not
thing
PG. We're not PG enough to be Elm.
I love I can mute him. Hold on. The other thing is, I think we're more Bert and Ernie, guys. Felipe, Bert and Ernie. If we had to be a team, that's us.
Yeah, but I don't know which one would be.
I'm Ernie. I'm
That's
Ernie.
a whole nother show.
I'm
That's just a
Ernie.
whole nother show.
I am totally
No,
going to frustrate you. Yes, I'm Ernie. You don't know Sesame Street enough to have this debate if you don't think I'm Ernie. Guys, I want to know
I,
who's Ernie, who's Bert. Also,
I,
uh,
I think I'm more Ernie than you are sometimes, because you get all serious and, like, cranky about stuff, and so that's all Bert.
um, Aaron votes you for the next Fabio, which Aaron, oh man, I got the picture, buddy. I
Oh,
have
good
the picture.
Lord. Oh God. Okay.
Okay.
Wait. How
Okay.
did we go
So
from
anyway,
Sesame Street
listen,
to Fabio?
very quickly in the comments. That's why I'm scared of comments on a live show, guys. So listen, this really is about time management. This is a fun conversation. If you're just tuning in, it's not chaos and just silly stuff. We are talking networking. We're talking about fun and passion. We're talking about how we could ever get to a LinkedIn professional platform, the biggest global platform for professionals to network and find jobs on, right? Upskill and all the things, and talk Sesame Street and characters. And then for an HR professional with a top voice accolade on a professional platform to have me stored in his phone as Big Bird. Felipe, I dare you to drop the picture. Go show them. Let them see what you did for my don't drop my phone number, please. Just show them did
Ah.
because I don't do my number out there. But
Oh.
Felipe,
I,
be
I,
here.
I, I
That's my
like Nick's
first coffee
comment
chat
there.
live. Yeah.
See, see,
Listen,
see, see. Nick's
I
saying that
no, I'm not going to let him pitch himself on this.
I'm not
She's
pitching myself.
look, a stallion. I
That
know she said Stallone, but it's stallion. You're a horse, or well, you're the cousin of a horse. You're like half horse, half. Um, okay, so
no.
listen, I'm just kidding. Now, Felipe, I want to get back on it real quick because I want to focus this show. I really do. I want to keep it to like having that. Have you ever said, "I wish I had more time"? And I know we've talked time management on audio events. We probably haven't done it live recorded yet, but how often in a day do you find yourself wishing, especially in corporate, right, where the sky could just start falling out of nowhere for no reason, wishing you had more time? And how did you combat that in work?
For the first 20 years of my career, that question came up every single day, multiple times a day, and I don't know if I heard it from somebody or I read it somewhere, but it was that phrase that came out about work smarter, not harder. And that's where I kind of had that moment of trust in the trust in yourself and trust in the workplace that you are doing your best so that when you do take that time off, that you're able to do it without guilt. So for example, some of you might remember, and it still exists in some cases, FaceTime. What FaceTime meant was that you were there just at work just to show your boss how late you were at work. You were staying late, not because you needed to, but because they were still there. You're going to stay around just to make sure that they see how dedicated you are. But you weren't really needed there and you weren't really doing any work. You were just staying late because that FaceTime was something that was very predominant in a lot of different industries, especially hospitality. It was a sign that you were dedicated, that you were hardworking, that you were working long hours. That
Oh
is not
God, I love you brought that up, guys. Your employees are not less important because they get their job done more efficiently. If we can send in a Navy SEAL to do a job that maybe the whole Army takes a little longer to do, we do it. And that doesn't mean they're less effective because they get it done faster. That is the silliest mentality I've ever seen. And a boss who's like, hey, I'm here on my dream, burning my family time and personal time to make my dream work, and you're not staying with me. If you're not paying me to be that committed, bro, don't give me eyebrows when I leave. You have a nice day. I got my own dream I build after hours. Got to go. Right. And so thank you for bringing that.
Yeah. And because the other thing about that is that when you have, there is a more efficient way to do things. Hey, it could be a time saver and I'm still going to get the same great results. That means that to me, it's a sign of intelligence. It's not like you're finding shortcuts. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to reduce the quality of the work. But hey, if ChatGPT can help me format something to make it look a little bit more prettier than me spending an hour to try to format it, then yes, that is working smarter. Having ChatGPT write it for me, for me, is not smart.
I hear you.
So,
but one of those other, like, I want the comment section, light me up without AI. How did you do it before we just had things auto process for us? Because delegation's important. And I think having tools that work are important. But what if you don't do that yet? What are your old tried and true methods? Because I'll be honest, guys, my 3 list today, this week, and after. Those are the ways I've always done the work. My planner, my journal, my to-do list, all of it being in one binder that I can take.
All right, well, I'll tell you what I did. For me, it was definitely. Sorry, you're still talking.
Dang.
Well, you went out. Your mic went out. I thought you stopped talking. Sorry.
Okay, I was like, dang. But no, it matters though. And I like the tools that aren't always tech-based because some of that creativity comes when you disconnect from technology, the bells, the whistles, the distractions, especially for me. So if you guys can use tech and have it function, that's cool. And everybody knows that these are really great tips everybody's covering. But what are those things we don't know about? What are the things that are tried and true methods that have worked forever, no matter what changed in technology, right? How did you get it done? Was it a to-do list or a shopping grocery list on your fridge? Was there a magnet? Grandma used to have a shopping list pad. She would just write things down as she was in the kitchen, ran out. And she never had to write a list because she would just write it down as she went to go grab something and it was low. That's a tried and true method that has nothing to do with AI, right? Now, I could easily go to AI and say, hey, I forgot my shopping list at home, ChatGPT. Tell me the most purchased items in a grocery store. What are staples to purchase for your pantry, right? You can ask these things and expedite it. Or you might be like grandma who's like, I don't want a whole new process. I'm going to buy one pad, make it work. The pen's going to be a magnet that's stuck to the fridge like they do on the counter at the bank. And it's always going to be there. And I just rip the page when I go. Simple, right? $1 maybe. How much is the magnet to make this happen? Can you just, is it your fridge? You can glue it on there if you want. I don't care. Get it done. But simple. So those are the things I kind of want to cover too. Sometimes we make it hard. What if you've never used ChatGPT and now all of a sudden Felipe is like, way to make your life easier? unless you're scared to death of that evil monster that connects to the internet and now they're going to steal everything, which they might be, guys, by the way. I don't know. So,
well, so can I share one thing real quick about that? Because one thing about before ChatGPT, it was about the philosophy of like, if I didn't have to recreate the wheel, I was not going to spend my time recreating it. If I know that somebody, a colleague of mine, already created a certain training format or maybe a form, like, hey, do you have a copy that I can borrow and I can customize it to what I need? So it's about looking for those opportunities to collaborate so you can work smarter. But the time management is going to be the key, because time management is going to help you, like Melissa said, write down what your goals are for that day, the week, the month. Time management is going to help you create boundaries, and time management is going to help you take stuff off your mind that you are spending time worrying about. So that's the other thing. Spending time worrying is a big time zapper. So when you write it down and you say, hey, I'm going to work on this at 3 o'clock today or tomorrow, you've now taken that worry out of your mind and you've gotten more time back in your life.
absolutely. That's the thing, guys, right? We talked about energy and passion and those time sucks. And I'm looking at it right here. Gregory says, I have a lot of people who abuse my time and drain my energy for days. Hence, I'm always playing catch up with my personality. Saying no is my weakness. Don't say no. Say no, thank you. There are so many ways. Not today. Oh, I'm sorry, I have other plans. That's not no. I'm sorry, I can't right now. That's not no. That's not right now. I'm not. Right? If they say, hey, do you want to go get chicken wings? Oh, I'm sorry, I can't right now. That's not no. If you do the same with your boss, I'm sorry, I can't. And then if they don't say, well, oh, I'm so sorry. Or like, why? Is there something you're in the middle of? You can assess, right? I would love to go, oh, great. I understand. What are you working on? What do you got going on? And then I will dive in because maybe I can help, or maybe there's something where there's an overlap. Maybe it's just conversation, right? But I care. I think boundaries are huge with time management, though. As a parent, children are one of the ones that took most of my time, especially when they were younger. And so if I wanted alone time protected for myself, I had to give them something to be busy with, right? And so when I, as a manager, say, hey, I need to go do office time in the back alone, I have schedules, I have paperwork, I have whatever, right? I'm setting the standard of, I need my focus time. This is my signal to you. I'm going to go focus on my job. While I'm there, can you focus on this part of your job? And I delegate that. If you can't delegate up, you can say, hey, I'm so sorry, I don't have time, and these are my whys. If you feel bad saying no, give explanation, right? If my daughter says, hey, buy me a car, and I say no, it sounds terrible, but if I say no, I think there's value in you earning your own vehicle, or I think there's value in meeting you halfway on this purchase, or I think maybe you should be driving for a while with some supervision before you just take off in a car you've experienced, right? It's not necessarily a no, but it is. It's a boundary. It's a firm, let's assess more before we make any more action. And that's okay. But if you're not comfortable saying no, you really need to define your why. And if it's a neurodivergent thing, that's cool. But you still, even if you have a hurdle in front of you or a way that you need to process differently, once you understand it, you can still find a way to meet in the middle. That's the beauty of having a Venn diagram. Everybody is a circle, and we have to move into the center together, not the whole necessarily, but we have to find a way forward. And so if the thing is, hey, I don't want to overlap today, I don't have room in my circle to take you in, that's no different than me saying, I'm sorry, client, you're not my client, you're my friend's client. Let me get you over to Felipe because he is the person who will help you tremendously in this. Or here, let me send you to Aaron, who's doing this over here and I'm not. Or Nick, who's publishing and I'm not, right? And if they're mad at you for that boundary, is it because they wanted your time, or did they want a solution that worked for them? Because if I'm not the solution, I will let them know.
Can I mention one thing real quick? And I'm going to step down so you can finish up the show. But here, when you were talking about focus time and setting those boundaries, there are so many benefits to it. But here's one thing I wanted to highlight. When you set that focus time to block time out, you're dedicating yourself, it is going to make you feel more accomplished. But here's the other thing. When you take that time for yourself, when you take that break, where you say, you know what, I need a break. We need those breaks to be able to think, to be able to strategize, to be able to be creative. If you are always go, 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 you are never really giving your mind a chance to really just think about things without all these to-dos. And so I'll give you an example of what happens when you do give your mind a chance to think. You start coming up with creative solutions to problems that you've been having for a long time. Or, even more importantly, you start thinking about the people in your life that you care about. I've reached out to Melissa Houston to check out on something that she shared with me that she was dealing with that was causing her some stress. She reached out to me to check out on my eye because I shared with her that I was dealing with things with my eye. These things would not come up to us to care enough to reach out if we didn't take the time to relax and just think about yourself and life and what's important. Because if you don't give yourself that break, those thoughts won't come to you and you won't reach out to those people you care about. So I just wanted to share that because I think time management is huge, but it's important for business, but it's also important for you and those in your life.
It's valuable, right? Because, guys, let's be honest. If I go and I burn myself at both ends all day for business, what do I have left for family, right? What do I have left for self? I know that I was just watching something. I don't even remember what I was watching, but I guess in the 40s, self-care was a huge push for women. They were stepping up into new roles in business and the workplace that they had not because of war. And there was a lot going on there, but self-care was a big to-do. And so just taking the practice on of, taking care of your skin, hydrating, plucking, it's not about the beauty. It's about taking care of yourself and checking on yourself. And if you guys have sat in the mirror, whether you're shaving as a man, a woman, or whatever, you're plucking your eyebrows, you're taking care of what you see in front of you, right? And I don't think everybody does that all the time. I know there have been times where I've looked up in the mirror and I almost didn't recognize myself. Somebody let me know in the comments, say, yep, mirror moment. That's how we'll know that's what we're talking about. But I have been in the mirror where I looked up and I have been going so long, so fast. I might have glanced up in the mirror and yep, my hair isn't crazy, but I never looked at myself. And it doesn't happen a lot these days at all, really. But there was a whole good 3-5 years where I can just remember being in shock every time I did catch a real glimpse of who I was seeing. And it was never what I was hoping for. And it wasn't how I looked. My makeup was on. The lipstick was great. It wasn't that. It was slowing down to see, oh, she's tired. Oh, there's pain there. Oh, there's bloating and swelling, like weight gain, right? Stuff where my body was giving me signs, guys, that I wasn't okay and I was missing it because I was too busy to even look. And so taking time to schedule for the yes made me take a nice long shower, exfoliate, right? Get a good scrub and head to toe and get rid of all the dead cells that live there. That's a real thing. And put some moisture back on after you scrub it all off. It's, you polish after you wash and just really take time to not just put lotion on the skin like a scary movie, but maybe you're feeling your bones and like assessing your body as you do. Are you doing your self-care? Are you doing cancer screenings, right? Breast exams, moments like that get lost in the sauce very quickly. When's the last time you went and got a checkup? A dental exam, a cleaning? Went to the barber, got a massage, had your toes done. It's not because you need to look a certain way, but feeling a certain way matters. And you can't really go and have a good time with your friends and party all weekend if you didn't prepare for that, right? You get sleep the night before, you pack a lunch, you rest, you get ready. What if you have your dream call from Disney show up and you're burnout and don't have any room for them to have their moment with you? What if you have to say, sorry, Disney, I would love to, but I can't because I don't have any room on my schedule for you. Everything you've done is to get them to call you, and now there's no room. Or you have to cut somebody that's so important or somebody who's valuable already locked in on your schedule. You have to rearrange it to make room for that. And I'm not really in. Stuff happens, right? I've had to reschedule, but I don't like the idea of, hey, so and so trusts me with their dream, their passion, their fun. They're looking at me to grow, and I'm going to just tell them maybe next week because it's my turn right now. That's selfish, especially if I've been paid to be there. Right? So are you assessing? And what happens if it works? That's the other thing. Because foolish man building on the sand, I heard the song as a kid. I still believe it in business. Faith or not, the message rippled. If you build on a broken schedule, barely getting by, holding on for dear life to make it work, and then you finally get the contract that actually makes you busy. Because there's a difference of busy with a contract and busy work to get a contract. Will you execute? Are you ready? Are you physically, mentally, emotionally, financially prepared? What if they say yes, but you have to make an investment? Do you even know what to do next? Do you have that? Right? And so it's not just time management today, but are you scheduling for the win? Imagine being a music person, right? Somebody who's on YouTube today, every day, singing their songs, trying to get somebody to just catch it. And then they do. But this person says, oh, I don't have time to tour. I don't have time to record new music right now. I can't. I'm sorry, but what happens? It really matters in the long run to get it right now. Because habits built as you're growing suck. Have you ever tried to diet while you're building something or in an interstate move, right? Like I moved a few times in my life. And one time we were traveling for multiple days over the country from Washington to Iowa in a U-Haul and a suburban truck thing. And I couldn't be on my diet very well unless I planned ahead, right? Imagine trying to implement a diet in the middle of the move and really stick to a regimen that if I fail, I lose the ability to diet again. It's a dumb analogy, unless it isn't. If you've been in business and you finally landed that big contract and then you falter with the big guys, do they come back? And how often? What if there's a ripple that's like, oh, not only do we not want to come back, but we're going to tell our friends, you probably shouldn't over here, but this one. There's a ripple. And at what cost? Because all of this busy work is to do the thing right, to win, to get it done. And so if you're not, what are we doing? It's a thing you have to decide for you. And I know we're putting in the action because we're here 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning. We're tuning in all over the place, right? How many of you guys have shows? How many of you guys show up to other people's shows to learn every day? And what happens when that one tidbit, that seed, that connection, that intro, that moment happens? Are you ready? Because it's hard to be in business. It's hard to grow. It's hard to sustain the energy and the fun and the passion when you don't get a lot of yeses at first. I know people who go live and there's nobody there. And that's okay, because the first time I went live, not everybody was there, right? And, oh, okay, I lied. I had a good turnout, but I was doing it because my mom passed away. It wasn't this thing. I'm talking about just an event. Not everybody speaks to a full room all the time, but you know what? There are people who will just sit in the middle of a public space and start playing, and all of a sudden there's a crowd. And that's exactly what live streaming is. It's exactly what happens. But when it hits, can I sustain it? Am I ready for the show? Am I ready for the contract from one of these big platforms who says, hey, I want to take this and syndicate it nationwide and make you like everybody's morning cup? Heck yeah, let's do it. I'm ready. I can shift mentally, emotionally, physically, financially. I'm ready to do this thing. Now, if they ask me to take on 10 new clients, I'd go, oh, 10 today? No, different. I'm not ready, but I know that. And that comes back to boundaries, guys. Do you have them on yourself? You can't say yes to everything. You cannot say yes to everything. And so if an opportunity comes, do you have a strategy to assess it? If something new pops up in your timeline, in your day, do you know what to do to sort it? Because me, I go back to that very simple 3 list. Oh, so Bob asked for my help. Let me look at my schedule. Oh, my schedule today says I have a lot going on. I need my time exactly the way it's outlined today. Sorry, Bob, I have you this week. You want me to look at this week? I have some openings. And then I move Bob to this week. And if Bob doesn't want this week, he needs today. 1, does Bob pay me? Is Bob related? Is Bob's issue life altering? What's my responsibility to Bob? Because I hate to say this, but your failure to plan is not my emergency, is a quote I heard one time, and I almost wanted to tattoo it on my forehead. Especially when I had young children who were like, Mom, I have an assignment due in the morning and I haven't done any of this 6 weeks worth of homework. Right? It never really happened to me that way, but you get it. We've heard the story of, oh gosh, we got to go get all this stuff for a science experiment. Right? That's not who I want to be. It's not who I would want my clients to let me become. I don't want to be a firefighter, or I would have been a firefighter. I'm a coach. I'm a consultant. We do business. We can put out fires together, but I don't want alarms calling me in that way, unless you're paying me, unless you're family, unless it's something I've been helping with, and it's maybe we threw a rock together and there's a ripple and you need my help. Of course I'm showing up. But boundaries matter. Do I show up for you or my daughter in that moment, and why? Do I show up for this client or that client in that moment, and why? Right? And if you don't know, if you don't have a strategy, if you don't have a way to handle the moment and a plan of action, you're going to be in trouble. And it goes back to that whole Navy SEALs thing. I want to be the Navy SEAL who is prepared for everything. Everything. So how do I do that? I manage my time, I manage my boundaries, I manage myself, and I never have to pat my pockets to know where my resources are. If I need to pull a card out, I can pull it out, use it, put it back before you saw me do it. Jason Bourne, right? Secret agent style. But if you become that in your own life, if you Terminator style assess your life, walk in, deep, scan, assess, and then really apply your skill sets, whatever tools your version harnesses, you're going to do really well. But I really believe you have to write it down first, sort it out, get a plan, and stick to it. And then have a plan for the stuff that arises when it comes. How do you sort it? Is there a method? Emergency rooms function all the time in chaos and blood and death and life altering moments. But they have a method. There's one door for this issue. There's one door for this issue. There's somebody who can assess on this side and put it in a queue based on need. On this other side, they come right into the back. They get first in line every time because their need doesn't go through the other door. It's so much more important to focus on this person right now that we don't even question it. We make it happen. That can happen for you. What does that look like in your business? If you're a website designer, you might have a bunch of clients who want to do a bunch of website stuff, and that's really cool. If the client's doing a website launch and it goes down the day of their big presentation in front of all of their stakeholders, I bet you that's the first one you're responding to when they call customer care versus the others who want to talk which color blue would best represent their brand. It's assessment. And it's not terrible to say, Bob, hold on, I'm really liking that center blue, but let me get back to you in a second. I got to deal with this website issue on the left. It's an emergency. Right? And so then assess the people and how they respond to your boundaries. If Bob is like, no, my blue color shades matter more than their multi-million-dollar event, I'm going to look at Bob and go, I'm never going to please Bob. Probably just really going to move him lower on the totem pole of returning to him to address, because it just seems like it's going to be a growing issue to please this human when they can't assess the value of the time and what I have already promised of people, right? Promised to people. So think about who you surround yourself with and what they're asking of you and why. When I tell my family I need protected time, especially now that I have a teenager who's the quote unquote baby in the house, it's a lot easier to get. But also when the teenager enters my space and says, I can't wait, I understand that means everybody else is gone. I would close the screen right now and say, gotta go, guys. I'll catch up next week, and be gone. Because that's my boundary. That's my priority base. And none of you could need me more than she could in that moment, unless, not in this way, right? There's no back door to enter for emergency bleeding or heart attacks. So just think through it. What does it look like in your life? Because time management also means assessing your actions and putting them into a priority, right? Which one matters most and why? And it does change with the time. It does. It also matters how you approach the solutions. Because if somebody says, hey, the answer is to just put oil on the car, in the car, around the car, and you don't know that means into the engine, where it can lubricate the thing that keeps the car moving. And you just pour it on the roof like we talked about, or maybe inside on the rug because, hey, it's in the car. I put it in the car. You told me to put it in the car. Oh, I put it in the trunk. Isn't that in the car? Clarity matters. What does it look like? What are the expectations and how clear are they? And for yourself, I expect Melissa to get these 3 things done today. Melissa, I mean it. And how do I remind myself? Because I get distracted, same as you. I go back to my journal. I go back to my schedule. I go back to my calendar or my alarm systems. I might even, if it's important, call a friend. Hey, I need you to call me by noon because if I don't do this by this time, I'm in a lot of trouble. So then if my phone dies and my alarm doesn't go off, there's a plan B, right? I'm getting an email. I'm getting a call on my backup device or something. You're phoning my husband to have him pass it on. There's always a method to make sure it's done if it's important. I don't rely just on myself. And so the next thing about time management is accountability. Who are you relying on? Who keeps you accountable? Felipe mentioned it earlier, right? When I needed help, I call him. We have conversations about it because I like to hear his perspective, even if he's wrong a lot. Just kidding. Come see us tomorrow. We're going to fight, I'm sure. But with respect, because we argue back and forth and we do a lot of things together, but there's accountability in not having a yes man or woman or human telling you all the time, yeah, you should do it. Yeah, jump in. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, go, 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 go. Or, hey, I'm trying to decide. There's 2 options here. Both seem rather important. I'm not sure which one should take higher priority. Can you help me assess? Not tell me what to do, but assess with me. So what are you guys working on? What has been a struggle? Do you have something? Right? Because we have a few minutes left, not a ton. And I just want to make sure we're covering the topics we need to cover. I will say time management for me these days is a little bit tougher. And it shifts when you add different, and always circles, right? Venn diagram with Melissa. So when I talk action, I'm talking different circles of life. I have my personal circle, my professional circle. I have a couple of professional circles, right? I'm a coach, I'm a consultant. Those are two different things. They do sometimes overlap, but I coach humans and I consult businesses on growth. I help with time management and humans functioning to their best capabilities and mindset and operations and all the things, right? But I'm also a coach who can get into the nitty gritty with you and figure out steps and action plans for lots of reasons. So that's a lot. But then I'm also a co-author. I'm also a host of a podcast, a show, right? I'm a co-host of a show with Felipe. We're doing that one tomorrow. Go follow him, find him so you can see the show. Felipe, please drop it in the comments or somebody if you can. All of you do it. Let's light it up. I don't care. But there's a lot of facets to me. So when I sit down and I really try to figure out the different circles and the different responsibilities and the nonprofits we're working with and the different things I do in my personal life, and then the humans I'm coaching, mentoring, consulting, touching, related to, responsible for, the ones I care about beyond my own family, that the other dreams and passions I have that you guys don't even know about yet, because some of that stuff's personal until it's protected. And you get it. If you're in business, some of it you can't talk about publicly until you've done your diligence, right? That's, again, time management, being careful with how things roll out and in what timeline. Is so much more than watching the clock and making sure you're clicking along the boxes effectively. It's making sure you're managing it to your benefit in all facets, and to make it work for you, and to delegate the stuff that steals your energy and your passion and your fun, that takes away or creates an additional need for a runway, right? Sometimes when I'm transitioning from task, I told you I like to sit down, sip my coffee, get my notebook out, maybe listen to some music, and I have to do a transition in my brain to be focused. Now, it could be some neuro-saucy stuff going on. That's cool. You get it. It could also be the chaos that I just left. It could be the heaviness of the last phone call. It could be, it's not easy to just switch off the emotions and compassion and empathy that you feel in these other moments before you can move into something new. So that's another thing, guys, in business. If you are here and you're consulting and you're doing things, can you give yourself grace? Do you do an 8 to 9 meeting, a 9 to 10 meeting, a 10 to 11 meeting, an 11:15 to 12:15 meeting, do a quick lunch, come back for your 1 to 2, the 3 to 5, and then go home, and you have a whole different list because TV shows, dinner, homework, and bedtime is all structured also. What does it look like? Do you have transition time? Do you have downtime? Do you have, hey, your bladder's full time? Are you neglecting hydrating because you don't have bathroom breaks between your meetings today? Because water matters in your soul and body and spirit. It all, we're a lot of water in here. And if you don't feed it, that body, fuel, water, oil, put it in the right spots, right? The water can't just be over the skin. It's got to go inside, just like the oil in the car. What are you doing? Are you going to be sustained? And then if you're not, I mean, you might feel great today, but there could be stuff going on inside you don't know about. And if you're not monitoring and doing some assessment and being forward thinking, right? We've talked about this, and looking into the future and protecting yourself for what may come. One day it's all going to be different. And that's okay. Different happens, but are you ready? And what can you prevent? And what can you create to be there when you need it in case, right? I keep thinking about a connection of mine. She was public about her story, but her name is Jill Squire. And we have been in a marketing group together, a community. Accountability was where I really lived in this place. I've been very busy, and time management meant I actually had to cut it out a bit to get my books done and the stuff going on at work this last year with the losses we've had. It was just a little bit of that. Let me cut out something I loved to be able to do more things that I need to get done. So it took a little bit of time off, but the connection there created a ripple, and we've been able to communicate. Recently, she announced on LinkedIn that even though she has been helping with cancer awareness and journey for others, she wrote a book and like a guide to help you through your treatments. She was also diagnosed, and she is currently in her treatment phase. And she did everything right. She knew to do the screenings. She did the things. She went to doctors, went to a couple doctors, and I'm not going to share all of her story. This is just public stuff she shared on LinkedIn. But it really got me thinking, right? She did all this stuff that prepared her for this moment in a way she never fathomed she would be preparing herself. And for me, it created a ripple in my own mind by her living transparently, her willing to share her story, her journey, the irony of building a tool for somebody going through this experience, never expecting to experience it yourself, and then relying on your tools and realizing how helpful they really are. And it's confirmation, but I'm wondering how many of those things in your life that you're creating are that for you and whatever's to come. Right. And I'm asking myself the same questions. I have my planners. I have my coffee chat notebooks. I have books. I have ideas within those things that I can build on. I have tools and my circles and my crayons and my glitter and my fun and my network, and it works. But I have boundaries. I have an eyebrow. I have an attitude that has been harnessed to protect myself when necessary. And it's starting to look more necessary in my life than ever to really be aware and questioning things that are happening around me. I think it's important to constantly assess. I think good assessment takes time. No assessment done quickly, unless literally to stop bleeding, the train, the save the baby from disaster kind of thing, right? Grab the roller, the whatever, just grab the wheel and pull away before it's too late. But if you're talking overhauling your business, your personal life, something that took a long time to build, please take time to assess, because I've never seen quick assessment on things that take a long time to create and engage being effective. Never. I've been in business a long time. I've watched a lot of chaos within my life. I've lived in a lot of levels of success, from practically none at all to success was the fact that we had government support and we could eat this month, to being successful enough to deposit 5 figures in one day from my actions in business. I've seen it all. I was a welfare child, and I'm not now, nor are my children. But that took a long time to get here, and to make progress doesn't always take a lifetime, but it does take time to really genuinely assess what's going wrong or right, and to put in the action to correct it. One good post does not mean now you are a social media manager or influencer or capable of recreating that process, right? Making changes to your content to create that kind of consistent outcome takes time, and you have to continually look at that. And it's the same with time management, but it's the same in a lot of facets. Your relationship, there's personal, professional. I just think about it all, right? And currently, where I live in my life, I'm watching things happen so quickly that I'm like, this can't be genuine and what they're telling me it is. And so I'm watching and I'm assessing, but I'm managing to make time to do that too. And so that's another thing, is make time for what matters to you. It may be different for all of us. when I start to get nervous, if I don't feel comfortable, if that gut instinct we talked about is off, I trust it. I have harnessed that over time. Some people think, hey, that response you're having, Melissa, that feeling you have, well, that's, you're reacting. You're not responding, you're reacting. And I'm like, nah, I've responded my whole life to moments like this with time and practice. I know what I'm feeling, what I'm seeing. And honestly, as somebody who's been in the background screening industry for a decade, my eyebrows shot straight through the roof yesterday when I read about the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, because I know how valuable they have been to people who needed help protecting themselves from background screening information that was incorrect, that stuff that should have been removed from credit being undone and protected, things like that. But also predatory practices by lenders, financial institutions, things that really protect you and I every day, stuff that matters, stuff that I would teach to people because it was in their summary of rights that I provided them when we did research on them. And I'm watching this change for no reason that I can fathom that is good, especially at this pace. And so I'm nervous, guys. And I'm not going to tell you what to think, but I'm telling you what I'm thinking, and I've always done that. So this isn't new, and if this offends you, I would ask you to assess that. What is that response you're having and why? Because all I'm telling you is how I feel, which I always do. And today I'm nervous. I have questions. It's not new. My questions might look different this week, but they're the same questions. Who, what, where, when, why, and how? Tell it to me like I'm a kindergartner, right? And so you're allowed to ask for clarity. And anybody who doesn't want to give you the clarity you're seeking, assess your why. I don't care if it's personal, professional. If you ask your boss for feedback on your performance and they refuse to give it, that's silly to me, right? I don't understand why that would happen. But there could be a reason. I would ask why they wouldn't. Anybody would have any ideas as to why a boss wouldn't want to give feedback, right? That you start asking yourself why, the who, what, where, when, whys. If I say, hey, boss, I have a question about something we're doing, and they say, no questions. Why? What am I really up to, right? Same with my husband. Hey, pull $1 million out of the bank. Why? Don't ask questions. Never going to happen. I don't know if you've ever been married, guys, but could you imagine if your spouse called and said, hey, empty the account, bring the cash home? Why? And I'm not doing this to tell you what to think, but I just assess. And when you use circles, it takes personal opinion out of it. It's scientifically proven to sort data, and it's not opinions. And if they are opinions, you can throw a circle in there for that, but all they end up being is bullet points within a circle of opinion. The facts are in the center. And so if you're not sure where you're at, if you're not sure when you're communicating with others, if you need clarity, if you're not sure where your time is, ask yourself, what am I doing today on the first circle? And what do I want to be doing tomorrow in the second? And then get the overlap. Venn diagram it. I want to be a mom tomorrow. I want to be a grandma tomorrow. I want to be a businesswoman, a coach, a consultant. I want to work for the employer I'm working with. I want to lead the teams I'm leading. I want to keep making videos and content. I want to see more shorts like that when we open the promo that we open with. I want to see that again, right? I want to see a lot. I want to take that with me, but I also don't want to take anxiety, depression, pain, fear, worry, debt, right? Anybody got debt? Think of the things you want to leave behind tomorrow. That extra 5 pounds you found somewhere during Christmas. Not me, I'm down weight, guys. I'm losing it as I go because that's a thing I've committed to. But you have to sort it for you. And you can use those circles for anything. I love to do it when I watch people argue. Right? We can use Jerry Springer as an example. I've seen them argue. Have you ever tried to Venn diagram the different sides and see like, okay, they're all a little on their own side here, but in the center, there's a lot of chaos, and that overlaps 100%. These humans might be chaotic in their day to day, right? Same can go with business concepts, politics, religion, beliefs. You and your spouse fighting over which channel's better, what color blue is better, Venn diagram, right? Take the one in the center. Just take that blue. It's the best of all of it. You got to figure it out. Figure it out for you. That's what works for me. That's all I'm sharing. I tell you what I do. I'm assessing, I'm aligning, I'm assigning duties where I can to get it off my plate. Some of it's delegated to AI, like Felipe said, smarter, not harder. That's one of my favorite things I taught my kids growing up. I think I even had it on the fridge for like years, written by hand and just on a piece of paper, because I was struggling to get them to just, come on, guys, let's take 2 seconds to think about it before we act. Document, then act, right? You can't document something without processing, and you can't process without thinking. Hopefully, you're doing those things before you're taking action. And so smarter, not harder is a really quick thing to just kind of throw out there and go, yeah, that's the way to state it. So what are you doing? Why are you doing it? Who are you doing it with? Who's respecting the boundaries? Who's not? Ask yourself why they don't respect the boundaries. Because I know a little puppy who's brand new, who's trying to figure out how to control their bladder when they're excited and seeing you might, break the boundary of not going potty on the floor in the house. But if you assess your why, it's because they're really excited to see you, and maybe you were a little late getting home because of traffic, and then you had to stop for the dog food you forgot, and it's not the puppy's fault. So don't get angry. Assess. Don't react. Respond. Get a puppy pad by the front door for those days where it's beyond your control. But don't be mad at the puppy for not having a bigger bladder, right? If you're in leadership, I think hold yourself accountable to answering questions. If you guys have them, drop them in the comments. I will still come back and try to respond to them if I haven't yet. But if you're in a position where you're finding leadership is refusing to speak to you, be transparent, answer questions you have, if you're not allowed to assess what's happening around you, ask yourself why. Really figure it out, because I've never seen the kids run through the house from the kitchen without hiding some snack under their shirt, right? Or something. If it gets too quiet in a room, I'm like, what are they up to? Kids are never that quiet without something. So just tap into the things that people are, if you hear somebody else smoke or fire, go look for smoke. Just open your eyes and look around, assess. You don't have to say, oh, they're lying, or, oh, that's not an issue, unless you've also done the assessment. If you want to talk about somebody's ideas or concepts, let's do it. Be willing to also be assessed in return, right? Have that conversation with the intention of meeting in the center with understanding, not necessarily aligning on the belief system, but understanding what's there, what that circle on the other side holds, what the bullet points look like. It could be time, it could be energy, it can be your passion, it could be your commitments, it could be financial, it could be emotional. It doesn't matter what it is. Assess your movements, figure out the who, what, where, and whys. Do it often. Get rid of the stuff you don't want to do. If you have to have it done, delegate it to somebody who's willing to do it. You would be shocked how quickly you can get the household chores done if you let people volunteer for a list of tasks that are on the board, and then you just pick up the difference, mom and dad. I did that. I ended up using an app that allowed the kids to see everything we needed to tackle in a day, and they could go in and pick their task as they wanted to. And so the sooner they jumped on their duties, the quicker they got their thing done, but the more likely they could do the thing they liked. If you're leading a team and you're not seeing engagement, don't yell at them, right? We're not yelling at the puppies. No offense to the employees, because that's not what I mean, but it's your fault if they're not engaged. 100% I'm blaming leadership, because that is our duty. We lead, we assign, we drive, we empower, we impassion. And if it's not happening, do not blame them. Blame yourself. Don't blame anybody and go, oh no, we all just realized this is happening. I just realized it's happening. Guys, how did I let that happen? How can we fix it? And let them help you bring solutions. You might be amazed at what you find out. Because honestly, guys, sometimes I'm shocked at what you're willing to pay me to ask. I'm not going to lie to you. I really am. Because I genuinely will come in and talk to your team and just go, what do you want to be when you grow up? What are your goals? What would you like to do here that you're not doing yet? Right? I've had these conversations, and you guys paid me to have this conversation because you didn't, which is cool. That's what I do. But imagine the power of businesses if they would do that. Imagine the power of the movement if everybody just understood what was happening and was allowed to ask questions. If we didn't have to all fear that, oh no, they're onboarding 10 new people, that means we're all fired, right? No, what if you just said, hey, we just got a huge investment and we're expanding. Everybody's getting a raise instead of making them think they're out the door. It's a mindset shift, but imagine the energy difference, the feeling, the room, the happiness of the workplace, right? So I'm hoping any of this resonated with you. If it did, I want to know. Tell me what it is. I said before, Felipe and I are going to be live tomorrow. So join us there. Go subscribe on YouTube. I'm over there now. I need to hit 1,000 subscribers to make money there. But reality is, if we're going to have to be on recording and doing video stuff, I want to grow there. And so please join me. I'm happy to have you. Also, if you want to be a guest, I'm always looking for guest hosts. I want to know what you'd like to talk about. So if you're a guest, you get to pick the topic. You can let me know. I am scheduling. I am vetting. Not everybody who wants to be on the show will be because it is recorded. And I want to be sure it's resonating and aligning with who I want to be in my brand. So no offense, but please reach out because I think there's a lot of opportunities and we can always find something for everybody to talk about. We'll just have to figure it out, meet in the middle. This week, schedule for the yes. Go find that open spot in your calendar. Put in some selfish time, right? That's you time to do whatever you need. Anything. Go watch Sesame Street. Go see if I'm Big Bird. We've reached the end of the show. I'm going to tell you right now. If you haven't figured it out, Felipe is Grover. Grover is like the blue Elmo. If you guys don't know, that's how he's most often referred to. And it's not accurate, but it's close, right? They're cousins, maybe. He's a superhero. He has a cape. Super Grover's a thing. Google it. And I just joked that because Felipe is like, he's Grover, but he lands his landings. Like he sticks his landings. Grover doesn't. Grover slides. He like always keeps going. Think about Risky Business when Tom Cruise just slid through it's kind of that. He lands, keeps sliding, and then like falls out the window. And he just crashes. And I told Felipe, I think he's that version of Grover. And Felipe says he's not. And I told him I need proof that he can stick a landing. Otherwise, he's always going to be crashing in my brain in that way. So go check that out. But come follow us tomorrow. We're going to be talking about some cool stuff, networking, checking out your circle and expanding it and growing into these things. And you'll get the Bert and Ernie experience as much as this is all trademarked by Sesame Street. And please don't be mad at me, guys. We just really vibe with these humans. We Venn diagram with them. We overlap with their spirit. And we were raised there. They were the ones who taught us these things first. Be kind. Help each other out. Be kind to your neighbor. Grow together, right? We're all a little different. We all are a little grumpy or excited, or we fail to land the way we meant to. But we're still valuable and we're still there. So remember that this week. Try to bring that Sesame Street energy to your platforms, to your feed, to your conversations. Super Bowl's coming up, right? There's going to be some energy out there, but why don't we just celebrate the fact that two teams were at their best and hopefully one will win, right? One will win. And I hope we can shake hands on the field after and we can figure it out because divisiveness is up. Ugly is up. Boundaries aren't the same anymore. There's like spikes and stuff on these boundaries and fences and chaos, and we're trying to hurt more than help. And I don't want my network to do that. I hope you don't want your network to do that. So let's move in with intention and be kind. And let's not troll and let's not abuse and let's not create Reddit threads about people who just want to set good boundaries or do good things, right? I've been there and I don't care. Haters help grow business too, but I think we can do better. I really do. So come back next week. If you have ideas for the show, I would love to hear it. I am going to try to play this video one more time. The intro, the outro. I'm ready. I want to keep doing this. And I appreciate you, Aaron Gibson, like I said, for making it happen. So without further ado, guys, I'm out of here. I will see you next week. I will see you tomorrow on Careers, Chaos, and Coaching with Felipe Cofino. Go find him. And then if you want to be a guest on my show, reach out. We can make it happen. Okay, we're going to try this now. Let me know what you think of the video and the song. And if you want Aaron to do something, let him know, because seriously, he should make this a service he's offering. He's not doing it yet, but I think he should. So if you think so too, let him know. All right, we're out of here, guys.
Sunlight creeps through my window pane. Dreams of stars, now a faint refrain. Coffee brews and thoughts collide in this early morning ride. Wake up world, let's start the day. Insight flows in a bright array. Questions dance like morning dew. In this space, it's me and you. Coffee chats with Melissa. Every cup was a whisper. Conversations open doors, spilling thoughts forevermore. Ideas bubble crisp and bright. Words take flight in morning light. Consult the heart, make it sing. New perspectives on each wing. Every thought becomes so clear. From the tunes and bubbling streams, waking up to brand new dreams. Coffee chats with Melissa. Every cup was a whisper. Conversation.
No, that's it. Thank you so much.